Are EIDL loans being blocked because of poor Experian credit scores? That is the question today for Saturday, May 9th. Thanks for tuning in. This is LALATE. As always, like and subscribe. But let's get right to it. We have your comments, and we're going to get right to one of them, which delivers some shocking revelations. It also gives us insight into how the EIDL loan process actually begins and maybe ends very quickly. Let's recap. Back on Friday, we explained to you in a Bombshell exclusive that SBA is now indicating to LALATE that 2 to 3 weeks after you receive your EIDL grant, you should receive an email. The email will be from SBA. The email will invite you to apply for a loan, basically inviting you to go to a portal operated by SBA. At that point, you'll go to the portal, set up a username and password. But what happens after that? Today we have more details coming actually from one of you in the comments yesterday. Jeep Willie says they're using Experian most definitely for doing credit checks for EIDL loans. So when I got the email that we referred to on Friday to set up the loan portal, I did so immediately. Once it was set up there, the first thing you do is there's an option for a scale between $1,000 to $24,000. Now this is quite surprising. It's not quite clear from the comment if this is universal, if SBA is limiting the EIDL loans to just $24,000, or if it was just in the case of this applicant. But this is the first we've heard of this $1 to $24,000. If you've gone through this process and saw the same thing, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear it for tomorrow. So he continues, once you choose this amount you'd like to apply for, $1 to $24,000, it shows the terms that they're offering. Like our man, LALATE, says in the video, it's 3.74%, a fixed 3.74%. 30-year payments starts 1 year later, so you don't have to pay any interest the first year. After you agree, it has you verify the identity with 4 questions like a credit check application. Once that's done, all there is to do in the portal, it says your loan is processing, and at the bottom is a grayed out button marked Sign Closing Documents. For when you're approved, the button will go live. Pretty simple, not very difficult. But here's what happened to him. The next day, I did all that. I kept on checking the portal and just said the same. Around 2 p.m., I got a call from SBA, which I missed. It said for me to call. That's all the doc, and she asked for an email to prove citizenship and verify my business phone number, and he did. That's all the documents she asked for, which is also very interesting. It shows that perhaps there's nothing else in this case that needed to be provided, but was it because of the Experian score? We're going to find out in a second. So he did that right away. A couple hours later, I checked the portal, and all of a sudden at the top, where it showed my loan amount, it showed $0 and status declined. Below that, it said decision details will be communicated by email. All the rest of the buttons were live before were grayed out like I never did them and made them into a default mode. It's been 2 days and no email. I don't know what the hell she asked for and why I wasn't going to be approved. They'd already approved my credit, and they had the initial portal offer of about $1K to $24K, obviously. So why was the second, presumably second credit, pulled? How did they come up with that range for the first pull, the range of $1,000 to $24,000, which is what we're wondering? I would think my loan amount would have been higher if the first poll showed something different. So obviously they're making some offers based upon the grant poll. He's referring to the grant, I think the grant credit score poll. Why are they just making me an offer based upon the info they already have, and this just out of nowhere I get a decline? This is all expletive as far as I'm concerned, and they're just giving loans to people who don't really need them because they're at less risk. Really, really fascinating information. So he was given, and I'm assuming Jeep Willie is a he. Thank you so much for those comments, Jeep. It is suggesting that, at least in this applicant's situation, it was Experian. It was a 1 to 24K range that he was offered. It's not quite clear if that was just his offer or other people's offers. So if you've gotten that email and you've responded, drop in the comments what you're seeing. As reported on LALATE yesterday, you should be getting that email 2 to 3 weeks after you receive your EIDL grant. So for most of you who got the grant not this yesterday, but a week before yesterday, you could be receiving this EIDL loan email this coming week. So when you do, please drop in the comments. All right. So let's look at the other comments. And there's some fascinating ones since yesterday. Also, yesterday's video. Shilvana says, I applied for an EIDL grant on April 3rd. No grant money yet. Is there a way to find out online the status of the grant? I have the application number. Well, this is, of course, an EIDL loan video, but yes, the best way is to call SBA. As we said, if it's been 4 weeks, call SBA. As we've also indicated, SBA has told many of our viewers that for some reason they processed the applications in mid-April first, and they're now doing some of them in early April. As other videos also indicated, other viewers are also indicated, some of them were in territories in the United States. One viewer out of Pennsylvania especially said that was a hot mess in Pennsylvania, that they had lost files, that they had to download them and do them manually. So just because they're processed fast in one part of the country for business in one part of the country doesn't mean it's the same for everyone else. Call SBA, tell them it's been more than 4 weeks, get transferred to a supervisor, and if you don't get the answer you like, call back again until you finally get the answer you want. All right, Joey says, great stuff. I applied on April 14th, got $1,000 on May 5th. 0 correspondences and just showed up. My question is, will I get this email you speak of for a portal in a couple weeks? Yes. So if you got it on May 5th, count out, Joey, 2 to 3 weeks from there. And 2 to 3 calendar weeks, not business days. All right, Eric. I appreciate your analysis and cheeky presentation. Well, thank you. Hopefully not too cheeky. And Rosie, thank you for answering my question. I appreciate it, Rosie. Sam says, I signed up on March 1st and received an email about May 3rd that it's still being processed in order. So I'm not quite sure what Sam is referring to. Now, let me clarify one thing. There are 2 emails that we're talking about here. Some people, not all of you, but some of you, when you received your grant, your EIDL grant, there was an email shortly thereafter for some of you. Not everyone got it. There's no reason why some of you got it and some didn't. That says, thank you for applying. Your grant has been sent to you or will be sent to you, and we're still working on your file. Now, some of you got that email. There's another email. The email I'm referring to in today's video and yesterday's video is the email that says, okay, your loan is now, you're invited to sign into a portal. There's actually a link in the email to sign into the portal. That is the one that you need to look for next. Ricardo, great video, great content, great delivery. Thank you for helping us. Thank you for commenting, as always, Ricardo. Appreciate it. Leanne says, I just want to personally thank you for being so straightforward, solution-oriented, and trustworthy. There's quite a bit out there on YouTube. Well, thank you. I appreciate you for tuning in and stay with us because we're going to have we have a lot of big stuff today. All right, Bernardo says, I received the SBL grant, $1,000. My credit score is poor. Do you all think I would be offered the loan? Thank you for the help. I really don't know, and really this is what's panning out over the next couple days. We don't know a lot of people having received this loan email portal yet, or email for loan portal yet. And so we don't really know what's going on. We only had that one from Jeep Willie where the Experian score was low and it was declined for reasons he does not even know. So this is one of these stories that's still very much evolving. And I assume as a lot of you get these emails and start clicking on them by middle of next week, about 7 days after this video is being aired, that will have a lot more details about who's getting the loan and what is the amounts. Cruemble says, got the SBA portal email yesterday, and I submitted for processing today. Credit pulled through Experian 3 weeks ago. So that's interesting. I don't know if she checked to see if Experian was pulled again, but she said it was pulled presumably for the grant 3 weeks earlier. Malio says, I was reading the EIDL loan limit is $150,000. Is that true? I really don't know. I mean, now we have Jeep Willing telling us he had a range of only $24,000. Malio heard it's $150,000. SBA's website says it's up to $2 million. It's all over the place. Don't really know. And that's, again, what we're going to find out in the next couple days. So that's why we're going to stay with this channel, because we're definitely going to give you updates. LALATE, from Rob. LALATE, I love your work. I applied for an agricultural grant on last Monday when the portal went open. We raise livestock from our currently 150 head in our herd. Wow, pretty impressive. I applied as a sole proprietor under my SSN, and I don't have an EIN. Well, that is correct. You did it correctly. I listed 5 employees as myself, wife, and 3 kids doing the work. I entered our personal savings account information. Am I screwed? Thank you. No, you did exactly right. You did exactly right. You are a sole proprietor, so you listed yourself. You should have listed the business name as yourself. You entered your personal social security number, which is correct. You listed the 5 employees, which include your wife and your 3 kids, if the 3 kids are actually working. That is correct. And you listed a personal savings account. Now, I will say to you, I think personal savings account is fine. I know there's been some comments on this and other videos about savings versus checking accounts. I've never heard anything that says that they accept one over the other or don't accept it. So I think you're totally fine, Rob. Now, I will add, Rob, that on this video and the EIDL low grant video, there's 1 or 2 people that talk about them doing the same thing you did the same day, and they've already gotten the money. So continue watching this video and also watch the other one. All right, Gene says, you're very smart and helpful. Thank you. Well, thank you, Gene. Thank you for watching. Dandy says, I'm thankful to have received a $1,000 grant from SBA last week, but it was supposed to be $10K. I heard there was some way to talk that we can get the full $10K grant. Is there some kind of funny business that's going on with SBA? And that Pelosi and Schumer sent a letter somewhere that it should be so. Heard anything about this? Yes, of course I've heard something about it. Schumer and Pelosi and lots of members of Congress are very angry. The CARES Act originally called for the CARES Act said $10,000 for each business. It did not say that you can apportion it for the number of employees. What SBA is doing here is their own accord, their own decision. It is not following CARES Act. That is what the letter that was sent to them by members of Congress. I don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of videos that are untrue, completely untrue, that says you're going to get the remainder of the money. No, there is no order. There's no rule. There's just a lot of people pounding sand, and as the moment, no one's listening to those demands. So what you got is what you got, at least for now. All right. Stacy says, hello, LALATE, and here are my questions. I applied April 4th. No advance, no portal, no credit pulled, 2 generic emails in California. I called today, 5/9. They said they cannot verify information. They could not check my banking account. I'm an independent contractor. If no employees, I applied as a sole proprietor. I did put in my EIN, but my company name is similar. I can't correct with Social Security number. Social Security. Ooh, a lot of mess there. The rep says still in process. He said when a loan officer looks at it and reassesses my application, he can make corrections. So I can't even verify or make any corrections. He also said farm and agricultural companies are in fact priority and be put ahead of all other first applicants. Oh, wow. So this rep from SBA told Stacy, who applied on April 4th, that she's being put on back burner because of agricultural people who just going into the pipeline this 4 days ago. I don't know if that's true, but that's horrific if true. Of course, that's the first you're hearing about it right today. Another bombshell. So the question is, for over 5 weeks, no one has even looked at it, and the people are getting processed way ahead of my date? Does that even mean that so no grant can even be given until it's assigned to a loan officer? Is that possible? Thank you for your support. I wish everyone the best of hope. So I really don't know. This is what I'm going to tell you, is that of the collection of comments that have come in, it depends on 2 factors. First of all, who you got on the phone. You can certainly call SBA 3 times and get 3 different answers. And for that reason, you should call 3 times. You should not listen to one person and believe that is true, because I actually have received countless comments on this channel where people have said one person told them one thing, they call back 10 minutes and they got a totally different answer. Now, on the other hand, I will tell you that in some jurisdictions, some parts of the country, things are done differently than other parts of the country, that apparently these files are dependent upon where your business is located. And as one person indicated in Pennsylvania, her error could not be fixed until that loan officer came in, and that loan officer was gone. In other parts of the country, people said they were able to have things fixed on the phone right away. So my best advice, keep on calling until you can really get someone on the phone to fix it. Now, as to your fixes, you are an independent contractor with no employees. I apply as a sole proprietor. Okay, so you applied as a sole proprietor. So you applied under your name, Stacy. So you put your name, Stacy, as the business. That is correct. But you put your EIN in. That's incorrect. But my company name is similar. Yes, but that's not but that's incorrect. Now, the good news is that clearly an EIN looks nothing like a social security number, so they clearly will see the error. The question is, how do you fix it? My solution: call SBA and keep on calling the SBA until they get it fixed. Don't wait around and don't believe one person's statement is true. Keep on pushing and ask for escalation. All right, Alvarado Energy says, what kind of credit score is required for approval? That is the million-dollar question. Someone has said 650 on this channel in the comments. Other people said it's dependent on Experian. We asked yesterday, how many credit companies do you see the credit score being pulled from? And so far, all the comments are Experian. Now, as we said to you before, and I'll clarify again, the grant is one thing, the loan is another. It says on the SBA's website that just because you qualified for the grant based upon credit doesn't mean you'll qualify for the loan based upon credit. Now, a lot of you in the comments are saying that, hey, they're doing a double check. Other people are saying they're not doing a double check, that they did the grant check and that's it. They're not doing a second check for the loan. So, you know, if you're under 600, if you're over 600, I wouldn't worry, or 650, I wouldn't worry. If you're under 600, I really don't know. I really don't know. And we won't know until later this week on this channel when we start seeing loans approved and people saying their loans are approved. Because so far, no one's loan has really been approved in the comments of this channel. If you've been approved, certainly drop it in the comments below. There's a lot of speculation, Shane says, about the credit scores required for the loan portion. Okay, here we go. Most have said that they don't have scores under that people under 600 were denied. There was one or two people who claimed they had scores over 700. They were denied. One channel says they were told by a rep that 670 is supposedly, quote, the minimum score. I think SBA just makes it up as they go. You know, I will say this. The person that answers the phone is not the loan officer. It's you know, it's a call center person. So just because someone on the call center tells you something, I wouldn't necessarily believe it's true. It's the loan officer. And to some regards, a lot of this is automated initially. And then after that, it's prompted by human review. Golden Peak. I applied on 3/30. Credit was pulled on 4/13. Sole proprietor, no EIN, just social security number. Been over 5 weeks. Said my application was flagged. Talk with SBA yesterday. Still no updates. Tier 2 still says no update. Says they're emailing the loan officer for a priority status. Haven't received anything. So the good news, Golden Peak, is you applied as a sole proprietor and you listed your social security number, so that is correct. You did it correctly. The question is, why have you not gotten a grant? And you applied on 3/30. The best I could say to you is the following. There's a lot of people in the comments that applied on that day, 3/30, who have not gotten a grant. And a lot of people from about 3/30 to April 4th have not gotten the grant. And there's tons of people who applied around April 13th to 16th that all got the grant by now, a week ago. So the good news is I don't think you've been flagged. The bad news is I think there's a delay. And yeah, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Just keep on calling. No, nothing else I can really say to you at this point. And I'm sorry about that. Roy says, Roy King, I'm an Uber driver and I clicked 500 or less employees. I also put company as Uber. Do I need to call them and make a change? Oh, absolutely. So Roy, what Roy did was he's an Uber driver and he clicked 500 employees or less and he put the name of the company as Uber. Yeah. That's not, Roy, you have to pick up the phone and do the following. So, well, let's think about this. Roy, before you pick up the phone and call, you need to look back at what EIDL is for. EIDL is for businesses. So I want you to watch our PUA video because as an Uber driver, you are entitled to PUA potentially if you were impacted because of COVID-19. But you do not click 500 employees or less. That means you own a business of 500 employees or less. You don't. You're a driver. Now, as the step above self-employed or independent contractor, there's a line above it that you may have been able to click. That as an Uber driver, it doesn't sound correct. But I would look at that before calling anyone because you have an issue. Buy and sell stars Tucson says April 24th. Credit pull by Experian, April 28th, received $6K in my bank account. From SBA 605 Experian score. So here we go, 605, and it's Experian. Always been Experian in these comments. What documents the SBA request for the EIDL loan? We don't know yet. I mean, LALATE had that video on Thursday that gave you guidance about what SBA says on their website. One of you dropped in the comments, well, the website's wrong. Well, I'm just telling you what the SBA's website says. Now, we do know that the invite email that we reported you on Friday just comes to you. And to get that invite email, you don't have to do anything else. Now, what happens thereafter? We just don't have enough comments yet from people who have had loans approved. We've only had people who had loans disapproved before they even do any work on it. So, can you disclose what the offer you got or your range? Well, we don't have anyone getting offers yet. We have that, we had Jeep Willie getting 1 to 24. And then we had that other comment with someone saying they had heard there's a limit of 150. We just don't know. If anyone gets these loan offers, drop in the comments. This is about a story about it 7 days early before people start getting these offers. We also received a PPP loan. Okay, there you go, for a very low amount of $2,000. Ugh. Lord. In your opinion, do you think we should receive an offer from the SBA for the EIDL loan? If so, how long does it take to process and fund? Any idea on what type of documents SBA will require? We're an LLC pawn shop. 2 to 3 weeks from date in which you received your check, your grant, which was April 28th. So that should be next week, possibly as early. Then you click it. I don't know how long it's going to fund because no one has indicated that they have received funding. So I just don't know. Do you feel that we will get an offer from the SBA? Yes, SBA will give everyone an offer. Now, when you click the button, whether they're going to decline it, I don't know. I really, really don't know. And the 605 Experian score, yeah, you heard in the comments. Everyone's saying they got declined. There's chatter of people getting declined at 700 Experian score. We just really don't know. This is a story still evolving. Diane, love your channel. Just subbed. Thank you, Diane. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, LALATE, can you get a PPP or EIDL loan and still get PUA? That's a complicated question. We've addressed it before, but basically, PPP means you just got to get back to work. So if you're getting a PPP loan now, then, May 9th, and it's funded, you need to be back at work now and then putting people back to work and then submitting those documents for loan forgiveness by mid-June. So you can't be on PUA because PUA is about not working. But you can take all that up with your loan officer. The bank that gave you the PPP is the best to address those questions, and you have to address those questions as the EIDL as well with the loan officer. That's the ultimate authority. Martin, can you please update when the portal will open back up for people other than agricultural businesses? Thanks. It won't. Not at the moment. So if you apply for an EIDL grant, you're in the system. If you apply for an EIDL grant, you're in the system for the grant. If you apply for an EIDL grant, you're in the system for an EIDL loan. If you applied for neither, there's no indication it's going to reopen. And at this point, it doesn't look like Congress is just doing much of anything. They're just telling the people to go back to work and complaining about how much everything is draining everything. And that football games should start playing tomorrow of 20,000 people in the stadium. It's a lot of chaos and idiocy that we're hearing, but not a lot of help for you. So if you did not apply before, I'm sorry, but please consider PUA and unemployment if that is your situation. Melody, is it only for agriculture? Yes, the stuff that went live on last Monday was only for agricultural. Ren, if both PPP and EIDL advances are received, does advance reduce from the PPP forgiveness? Okay, I gotta tell you, we did a PPP forgiveness story yesterday, and none of you watched it, and none of you commented on it. So if you want a lot of PPP stories, we're happy to do them. Keep on dropping comments, and then we'll make another PPP video. But boy, no one cared about PPP, and we can't stand the damn thing. So I'll save your comment, Jen, if there's a lot more of them. Ricardo, LA is definitely for the people. LA for the president. Oh, well, write me in. I'll take on the orange guy. All right, so there we are. Thanks for tuning in. That was an enormous video. And as always, stay with LA for more.